Welcome to the Managing Client Architecture and Active Directory Integration lesson. Solucel must maximize control over their clients while minimizing administrative overhead. To accomplish this task, you must learn how to structure client groups to optimize policy management. The lesson objectives are shown in the slide. This is the describing the interaction between sites, domains, and groups topic. A site can be one or more SEPMs installed with a database. Companies with large numbers of endpoints in regions with special legal requirements or WAN connectivity issues may require more than one Symantec Endpoint Protection site. A domain in the context of Symantec Endpoint Protection is a structural container in the SEPM database that is used to organize a hierarchy of groups. For example, if you are a managed service provider, you may need to manage multiple independent companies. To meet these needs, you can create multiple domains. For example, create a separate domain for each country, region, or company. Each domain shares the same management server and database and also shares the same console. The view is partitioned so that each domain appears to have its own console. All data in each domain is completely separate. This separation prevents administrators in one domain from viewing data or changing configurations in another domain. You can add an administrator account so that each domain has its own administrator. These administrators view and manage the content of their own domain, including creating their own limited administrators. However, they cannot view and manage the content of other domains. By default, only one domain is installed. All users, groups, and locations are assigned to the default domain. You can add more than one domain. Each domain shares the SEPM and database and provides an additional instance of the console. All data in each domain is completely separate. This separation prevents administrators in one domain from viewing data in other domains. You can add an administrator account so that each domain has its own administrator. These administrators can view and manage only the contents of their own domain. Domains allow you to delegate more granular administrative authority, physically separate security data, and have greater flexibility on how users, computers, and policies are organized. If you are a managed service provider, you may need to manage multiple independent companies and internet service providers. To meet these needs, you can create multiple domains. For example, you can create a separate domain for each country, region, or company. Domains prevent the sharing of data, policies, and clients with other domains. This is useful in some environments, but can cause management problems in others. Symantec recommends only using domains when necessary. For further details on domains, refer to the Symantec Endpoint Protection 14 Installation and Administrator's Guide and see Managing Domains. When you add a domain, provide the domain name, company name, and also specify the number of days in which a client does not connect before being deleted. You can purge client records more aggressively for non-persistent VDI clients than for regular clients. For example, client records may normally purge after 30 days of being offline, while non-persistent VDI client records purge when offline for 7 days. You can also copy policies and move clients from one domain to another. To copy policies between domains, export the policy from the originating domain and import the policy into the destination domain. In a multiple domain environment, administrators log on to a specific domain by selecting options on the SEPM logon page. The domain name is displayed on the home page when they log on. System administrators can choose to which domain they log on. After logging on, they can switch to administering a different domain. All other administrators, regular administrators, and limited administrators must select the same assigned domain every time they log on. When you switch domains, the domain shows as the current domain. After switching domains, add groups, clients, computers, and policies to the current domain. This is the Managing Groups and Locations topic. By default, the SEPM installs with two groups. Each group is configured to use a single location called default. This slide shows the SEPM group structure. At the top of the hierarchy is the My Company group. Symantec recommends that you do not assign clients to the My Company group. However, ensure that you have good and applicable policies assigned to this group. If you do not create new groups, all clients are assigned to the default group. Before adding clients, create your group structure. Many companies implement their group structure as role-based. This allows policies to be assigned by specific job category. A more functional method is to assign by company hardware, such as laptops, servers, or workstations. A geographic solution enables policies to be designed based on a country's regulations. A hybrid is a common approach and combines role-based, functional, and geographical group structures. The group structure on the slide is a hybrid group structure based on geography, function, and role. For example, each region has a sales rep group. Members of this group travel and need more stringent policies while traveling. The servers group in each region also needs a different type of policies. For example, scan exclusions for mail servers. By default, all groups inherit the policies and settings of the group immediately above them, including any custom locations. To create a generic configuration that applies to all groups and locations initially, modify the configuration at the My Company group level to the most broadly applicable settings before adding any new groups or locations to the client's page. You can create new shared policies at any time on the Policies page. When a shared policy is edited, the changes propagate to all groups and locations that are assigned that policy, whether they inherit the policy from a parent group or are assigned the policy directly. Before you can assign a customized policy to a particular group, you must turn off inheritance at that group's level. When inheritance is on, all policies and settings are read-only and must be modified at the parent level, or above if the parent group itself is inheriting from a group above it. In this example, the sales rep and servers group are no longer inheriting policies and settings from the Europe group, so custom configurations can be applied to the clients in the two groups, including custom locations. The Europe and North America groups continue to inherit their configurations from the My Company group, and the R&D groups continues to inherit their configuration from the Europe and North America group. Policies can be applied to more than one group or location. These are called shared policies. Shared policies can be inherited from a parent group or assigned directly to a child group with the inheritance turned off. While policy inheritance is on, any changes must be performed on the parent group. All configurations are read-only on the child group. After you make changes and save a shared policy, assign the policy to the applicable group. Shared policies are managed from the Policies page. You can manage a group's policies from the Clients, Group, Policies page. For example, you may want to withdraw or replace a shared policy with another shared policy for a particular group. Non-shared policies are unique. For example, you want to implement a restrictive policy regarding the installation of non-certified applications on most employee workstations to protect the enterprise network from attacks. Your IT group may require access to additional applications. Therefore, the IT group may need a less restrictive security policy than typical employees. In this case, you can create a different firewall policy for the IT group. Before assigning any policy, ensure that you are applying the policy to the right group or a group's location. Run the Policies Used report to see which policies are assigned to a group and if the policy is shared or non-shared. This is the Assigning Policies to Multiple Locations topic. Our sales rep group is configured to access the network from multiple locations. When logging onto the corporate network from inside the office, they use the same policies as our other groups. However, when logging on from outside the corporate network using VPN, the group is assigned a more restrictive set of policies. In this topic, you must learn how to assign policies to different locations to ensure that our sales reps are accessing more restrictive policies while traveling. This slide shows that the default location is used for all groups below the My Company group, and each group shares the same policy. However, 3 new locations exist for the sales reps group. The office location is assigned when connecting from inside the corporate network. The VPN location is assigned when connecting through a virtual private network, or VPN, and the external location is used when connecting from an outside network, such as a coffee shop. The location-independent settings from the sales rep group and policies assigned to the specific location are enforced when a member of the sales rep group switches to a location. When you add a location for a group, location-specific policies are automatically assigned. You can edit the policy on the Policies page, or for more granular control, edit location-specific policies here. Solucel's Research and Development Department uses Active Directory to manage computer accounts. Symantec Endpoint Protection's Active Directory import enables management to retain the same structure without duplicating management efforts. This is the Importing Organizational Units from Active Directory topic. The SEPM imports OU containers and user and computer objects. The SEPM cannot import security and distribution groups. The SEPM also uses Active Directory authentication when logging onto the SEPM. Active Directory authentication is covered in the Managing the Console and Delegating Authority lesson. Synchronizing directory structures creates one or more nested SEPM groups and is unidirectional to the SEPM and runs manually or on a schedule. When synchronized, changes made to the Active Directory are automatically changed on the SEPM. Synchronized directory structures cannot be changed on the SEPM. Note that you can import all or different parts of the Active Directory structure from multiple directory servers. The slide shows how Active Directory OUs are configured as groups in the SEPM. After adding the directory server or servers, import the organizational structures and then select the client page. First, below the computer's view, right-click on the parent group for the OU and select Import Organizational Unit or Container. Next, in the dialog box for the domain, select the corresponding Active Directory or LDAP server. Finally, in the directory organization that is displayed, select an organizational unit. The organizational unit, or directory branch, is imported. You may repeat this process any number of times to import multiple organizational structures from any number of directory servers. You can create new groups and move clients into new or existing groups. You can also search for clients in a group. You cannot move imported Active Directory clients to another group. For more information on copying AD imported clients to another group and importing specific AD accounts, see the KB articles shown in the slide. This is the Controlling Client User Interface Settings topic. How clients change any setting is controlled by the SEPM. By default, when you install the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, all clients are assigned server control. If you have multiple locations in use or have power users, you can assign mixed control. When managed by the SEPM, client control is only used in special circumstances. By default, clients are in server control and have limited control. You specify which high-level user interface settings display on the client. In client control, users have full control and manage firewall rules and configure most client options. In mixed control, you specify how much control users have in a more granular manner. You can set individual settings to either server or client control. You can also control clients by locking policy settings. When the client receives the updated policy, regardless of their control settings, policy settings override. Locked settings are grayed out or hidden in the client user interface. Server control gives users the least control over the client. Configurations that are padlocked cannot be changed. Unlocked settings can be changed. However, if the policy is updated on the server, the next policy refresh removes any user-specific changes on the client. Mixed control gives the user a mixture of control over the client. Determine which operations you enable users to configure by setting each option to server or client control. This is the Managing Client Settings and Tamper Protection subtopic. General settings define location and additional security settings. When the client service starts, the client enforces the policies and settings assigned to its last used location. If you disable this option, clients enforce the configuration of the default location when they start up. Below security settings, if you enable block all traffic until the firewall starts and after the firewall stops, a single exception is created to allow the client to acquire basic network connectivity. Only use this option when location awareness is used and the user is connecting to a public network beyond the control of the enterprise administrator. Under certain circumstances, you may also disable secure communication between the SEPM and client groups. For more information on disabling secure communication between the SEPM and clients, see the KB article shown in the slide. Tamper protection protects server and client computers from processes that tamper with Symantec processes and internal objects. When tamper protection detects a process that may modify a Symantec configuration setting or Windows registry value, tamper protection blocks the process. If you have an application that must modify a Symantec setting or stop a tamper protection scan on certain files or folders, create an exception. For more information on exceptions, attend the Symantec Endpoint Protection 14 Configure and Protection course, or refer to the Create Centralized Exceptions Policy in Endpoint Protection Manager knowledge base article shown on the slide in the reference section at the end of this lesson. This slide summarizes the lesson. For more information about the topics discussed in this lesson, refer to the resources listed on the slide, and remember to frequently check the Symantec Support website.